Welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving into the intersection of AI and creative expression. Everyone who met him said the same thing. Too big, too wild, too much cat to ever be someone's pet. His name was Titan, and at 22 pounds, he looked less like a house cat and more like something that had wandered out of a forest by mistake. Gray-blue fur, thick as smoke, a mane around his neck like a small lion, eyes that never seemed to blink, always watching, always judging. People who saw his photo online assumed he was some wildcat. Some asked if he was even legal to keep as a pet. Others simply scrolled past, the way you scroll past something that looks like it doesn't belong to you. And then, one quiet evening, his owner found him folded, impossibly, comically, into a bowl half his size. What happened next would change the way an entire family looked at him. Titan came from a barn on the edge of town. Feral mother, no father in sight, 5 siblings who scattered the moment anyone came close. Titan was the only one who didn't run. He stood his ground, hissing, ears flat, claws out, daring anyone to try. The farmer who found the litter called animal control. Most of the kittens were adopted within days. Titan was not. Word got around he was aggressive, untouchable. A shelter volunteer wrote 3 words on his file: "Not for beginners." He sat in a back kennel for 4 months. Visitors would walk by, glance at his massive frame and unblinking stare, and keep walking. He looked like trouble. Nobody wanted trouble. Twice, he was almost adopted. Both times, families backed out within the hour. One man said he looked like he belonged in a barn, not a living room. A woman said his stare made her uneasy, like he was sizing up the furniture, deciding what he'd break first. Each time, he went back to the same kennel, the same blanket, the same 4 walls. The staff started to talk about him the way people talk about something they've already given up on. Not cruelly, just tired. A cat that size, with that reputation, wasn't easy to place. Some of them quietly wondered if he'd simply live out his life there, fed and safe, but never chosen. It happens more often than people think. The ones who look the most frightening on the outside are so often the last ones anyone reaches for. A woman named Claire saw him on a Tuesday. She wasn't looking for a lap cat. She'd lost her old cat the winter before, and the house had felt too quiet since. She stopped in front of his kennel. He stared back, unmoving. The volunteer beside her lowered her voice. "That one's not really adoptable. He swats, he hides. Honestly, we don't know what to do with him." Claire didn't move. She crouched down slowly, at eye level with him, and said nothing at all. Titan's ears twitched. He didn't hiss, he didn't run, he just looked at her, like he was deciding something. She signed the papers that same afternoon. The first week at home was silence. Titan hid behind the water heater in the basement, coming out only at night to eat. Claire didn't chase him. She didn't force anything. She simply left food, left water, and left the basement door open so he always had a way out if he needed one. On the 7th night, she heard something odd, a soft thump, then a rustle from the laundry room. She crept over and found him there, this enormous, muscled, wild-eyed cat squeezed into an empty laundry basket 3 sizes too small for him, paws hanging over the sides, tail spilling onto the floor, eyes half closed. She almost laughed out loud. She didn't. She just sat down on the floor a few feet away and waited. If a story like this is already pulling at something in you, you're exactly who we make these videos for. Hit subscribe so the next quiet, misunderstood cat gets found by someone who's watching. Weeks passed. Titan never became a lap cat in the traditional sense. He never curled up on the couch like a normal 20-pound animal should. Instead, Claire kept finding him in the strangest places: a cereal bowl on the counter, a shoebox by the door. Once, impossibly, the bathroom sink. She started to understand. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was choosing the smallest, safest feeling spaces he could find, because for the first time in his life, he actually wanted to feel small, wanted to feel held, even if it was just by plastic and cardboard instead of arms. One night, she brought home a bright yellow bowl, far too small for a cat his size, and set it on the kitchen floor as a joke between herself and her sister on the phone. 10 minutes later, Titan climbed in, all 22 pounds of him, folded like a cat half his weight, tail draped over the rim, glaring up at her as if daring her to say something. She didn't say a word. She just sat down beside the bowl and scratched behind his ears. He didn't swat, He didn't run, he leaned into her hand. Then came the night that mattered most. A storm rolled through town, thunder loud enough to rattle the windows. Claire had grown up terrified of storms, and that night was no different. She sat frozen on the edge of her bed, lights flickering, heart pounding. She felt a weight settle against her side. Tighten. He had come up from the basement on his own, climbed onto the bed uninvited for the first time ever, and pressed his entire body against hers until the shaking stopped. He didn't hide from the thunder. He didn't flinch at the lightning flashing through the curtains. He just stayed there, solid and warm, like 22 pounds of quiet reassurance that had decided on its own that this was where he needed to be tonight. He stayed there through the whole storm, purring low and steady like a small, warm engine that refused to quit. By the time the storm passed and the room went still again, Claire realized she hadn't been afraid in almost an hour. She hadn't even noticed the moment the fear left. She'd been too busy noticing him instead. In the morning, the shelter volunteer called to check in, expecting the usual story of a cat too difficult to keep. Claire told her about the bowl instead, about the storm, about the way he'd chosen her, on his own terms, in his own time. The volunteer went quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, "We really did misjudge that one." People still ask Claire if she's worried having such a large, wild-looking cat in the house. She always gives the same answer. She isn't worried at all, because the biggest, most intimidating ones are so often the gentlest once somebody finally gives them the time to prove it. Strangers who visit still do a double take when they see him for the first time. The size, the stare, the thick mane of fur, all of it looks like it belongs to something far less tame. Then they watch him fold himself into that same absurd yellow bowl most evenings, tail hanging over the edge, eyes half shut, completely unbothered by how ridiculous he looks. Claire says it's her favorite thing in the world to come home to. After a long day, she doesn't need him waiting by the door or greeting her with noise. She just needs to walk into the kitchen and find 22 pounds of cat folded into something 2 sizes too small, waiting exactly where she left him. Some animals are judged the moment you see them. Too big, too wild, too much. But size was never the problem. Fear was. And fear, given enough patience, always finds a smaller, softer shape to fold itself into. So tell me honestly, would you have looked twice at the giant growling cat in the back kennel, or would you have walked right past him like everyone else did? Let me know in the comments.